Welcome to a series that we call the End of Times, where we go through the book of Revelation verse by verse to try our best to see what it is we can expect to happen in the end times. Now, this is episode 53, and every single episode I give a brief recap. This particular episode I'm not gonna, because a lot has happened in the last 52 episodes, and we've only gotten through chapter 10. However, this particular episode, in my opinion, and the ones to follow this, are the most important to us understanding what our role is in the end times. It's extremely important because we're talking about the war between the remnant of Jesus Christ, which is you and I, and the beast, or the Antichrist, and the rest of the world. And this episode finally gives us kind of a timeline, and we're for the first time able to see what it is we are to do as the remnant of Jesus Christ and what this war might look like. So today we're going to kind of talk about what that timeline is specifically. So we're just going to pick it up in Revelation 11, verse 1. Then I was given a reed like a measuring rod. And the angel stood, saying, "Rise and measure the temple of God, the altar, and those who worship there. But leave out the court, which is outside the temple, and do not measure it. For it has been given to the Gentiles, and they will tread the holy city underfoot for 42 months. And I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth." Now I want to start off by saying we are the 2 witnesses. The witnesses are the Jews and the Gentiles. And next episode, I'll give you proof through Scripture that that is the case. It's not Moses and Elijah. It is you and I is who the 2 witnesses is, the remnant of Jesus Christ. And it's very important you stop seeing it as 2 old dudes from the past. It is people on the earth fighting against the Antichrist, those who stand up for Jesus. And it's very important you start to see yourself there. And again, the next episode, I'll show you proof through Scripture that that is the case. So we're just going to kind of talk about the timeline because it's important that you see it that way. And that happens to be the first verses on the 2 witnesses that God gives. Now, I want to start off by saying these first couple verses are talking about the temple and the abomination of the temple of God. And that starts a clock. And that clock is an exact agreement with Daniel 12. If we take a look at this timeline, Daniel 12 gave 1,290 days before the end of the tribulation. And then Daniel 8 tells us that then darkness comes 1,150 days following the abomination. But these verses are the first to kind of give us the timeline of the remnant of Jesus Christ and that war between the remnant and the beast, because when we talk about the beast, which we'll get into many episodes from now, because we're just following the Revelation verse by verse, we're not jumping ahead, and we're only using the Bible as reference as well. So we're not using Hollywood stories or books people wrote. We're specifically using the Bible only. So what Revelation 11 tells us is that it says that the abomination will take place and the Gentiles will essentially be treading on the temple for 42 months. Now, it's interesting that they give months here, but then days on the witnesses. Now, the months will give an exact, you can calculate the months and you get years. It's 3.5 years, just like Daniel 12 had said. However, then it gives specific days for the remnant of Jesus Christ to be fighting, or the 2 witnesses. And I can't wait till we get into the power that we will have during this war. But it says that it'll be 1,260 days. Now, if you take a look at this timeline again, what that means is that we go through the entire tribulation. There is nothing in Scripture that suggests a pre-tribulation rapture. It is only warm fuzzies from pastors who don't like to scare their parishioners, but there is nothing biblical about it, and there is no way in the world new Christians who just became Christians at the rapture can somehow wage spiritual war against the Antichrist, who is not just a person, it is the devil and his minions So what we're looking at is we're looking at 1,260 days that this will go on. That means that we go through all the seals and we go through all the trumpets except for the seventh, which we also just looked at in the last 2 episodes as well. When we get to that seventh trumpet, after the sixth and before the seventh, you see that there are no more Christians on the earth. That means that we go 1,260 days of this war, and then prophesying, man, the power is incredible that we will have. But we also go 110 days into the darkness. So after the sixth, or after the fifth trumpet, when the world becomes dark, we got 110 more days to go before we finally get raptured out by that seventh trumpet. And of course, if we go back to the fifth trumpet, which I think was episode 48 or 49, it says that then when those wasps or locusts or whatever they are, the spiritual creatures that sting people, they torment them for 5 months. So we're kind of getting into this time. It's all the timeline is coming together at the same time. So, here we are again. We'll talk the very next verse in 11:4. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands standing before the God of the earth. Now that then, if we go back and compare that to Scripture, proves that it is the Jews and the Gentiles. It's not a couple old dudes from the past. It is you and it is I. So be prepared. Don't be fooled. There's no pre-tribulation rapture. There's no Scripture on it. There is only the remnant of Jesus Christ who is waging war against the beast. Nobody can wage war against the beast except for the remnant of Jesus Christ, and that goes on for 1,260 days after the abomination of the temple, and we actually go an additional 110 days into the darkness of the earth until we finally get raptured out right before the coming of Jesus Christ. And we'll talk about why that timeline is important, because if we're going to reign here on earth with Jesus Christ, of course we need to receive our glorified bodies. So we don't really leave the earth for any extended period of time. We leave long enough to receive our glorified bodies, and then we're right back here reigning with Jesus Christ. It's really a beautiful story. But those 1,260 days, it's very important that you prepare yourself for that you understand what your role is as the remnant of Jesus Christ and that force that will be there with the 2 witnesses. So hope this video is helping. Again, the very next episode, Revelation 11:4, we're going to get right into the proof that we are those 2 witnesses. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Put it in the comments below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. If you feel called to support our channel to Patreon, that link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.